Thank you for browsing page 121. Today I'm going to jump into the Imperial Navy book from Mongoose. This is from 2023. I looked at the book in its entirety back when it was first new, but I'm using chunks of this book to get my active duty campaign moving, and this is really for my absorption more than anything else. I want to pre-plan this campaign a little tighter than I do my normal campaigns. I want more background, more names, more places that I can just readily throw out to my players, as opposed to kind of, I don't know, in most games I tend to leave things a little loose, at least for the first few games, while I develop what they're going to be doing. In this case, I'm going to be developing what they're doing before the game starts. So I'm doing a lot of background research and stuff like that. I have to figure out where their ship is going to be based out of, what their patrol area is, that kind of thing. I'm also looking to do in this active duty campaign is stuff they do when they're not actively operating aboard the ship. In other words, if they take leave or if they have a detached mission, something like that. I want to look at stuff like that too. This is going to be a lot more than just them being aboard. It's one of the reasons they're going to have 3 characters each aboard the ship. They're going to have somebody in the command crew, they're going to have somebody in the middle ranks, and then somebody in the crew level. They won't be playing them all at once, but I'm going to let them mix and match. So they may go on an away mission where one of the ranking characters comes off the bridge and leads the mission down there, but their other players are playing other characters. At no time do I plan on anybody playing 2 characters at once, but I'm going to mix and match a little bit. My first one's going to start out with them aboard ship as the command crew. So my very first story is going to revolve around that. And this book has been really helpful in getting into the background and ideas of this kind of thing. This section especially, shipboard operations, we get how a starship works and why. So we get the branches and departments section, which has already given me a lot of ideas. Branches are flight, gunnery, engineering, technical, crew, line, support, medical, naval intelligence, and staff. And then various roles aboard the starship. This is all exciting stuff for a geek like me who really enjoys Traveller. I love the official Traveller universe, and I love my Traveller universe, which are 2 separate things. My Traveller universe, of course, I mix and match what I want to be in my Traveller universe, and I change stuff I don't, which is every GM's prerogative. But back to the point at hand, roles aboard the starship. Are we going to be command administration? Who's the commanding officer? It's funny, in the old video that I did about 2 years ago about starting this campaign, I had said that I thought the captain would end up being either my son Adam or Craig, both of whom are readily able to take on being the captain. Let me clarify that. Every one of my players could be the captain if they chose to. Adam and Craig are the ones I thought most likely to volunteer for it. To my surprise, my son Pat has volunteered for it. I thought that was kind of interesting. And he told me the reason he wanted to is he wants to be able to kind of pace the game. Sometimes we get bogged down in details or side tangents and things like that. He wants to keep the game in line and going forward. I'm kind of excited to kind of have a partner like that in the game. So now we're going to be looking at roles aboard the starship. Of course, the command administration, the commanding officer, which I said will be my son Pat, executive officer, logistics and administrative staff, and officer cadets. And there's going to be other stuff too, but I'm going to be doing a lot of that with my player characters. They're going to fill a lot of these roles. Then we get the flight section, engineering, technical, gunnery, and then the crew itself. Master at Arms is a role I'm looking for one of my players to fill. I like the idea of Security Chief Rock Ingersoll being aboard ship. And then the chain of command, we're going to go into that. I wish I could figure out a way to have my players sit down, spend 20 minutes, half an hour reading just this section so they were really on board with what I'm doing. But I know my players. They're not going to have time. They're not going to have really the interest to sit and read something like this. Although my son Pat has said he will go through this book with me a little bit. I could show him some stuff. So I'm going to have to synthesize this for them, which is fine too. So we're working on the chain of command. And the way we're going to do it, I've said this before in other videos, but the way we're going to do it is, as a group, the players kind of off page, we'll go ahead and they'll decide a course of action. They're going to do this, they're going to do that with the ship. And then once that's done, the person that tells me the definitive version of the action will be the captain, my son Patrick, and then he'll be responsible for relaying the information to me as they've all agreed on. It's not going to be that he's going to be bossing around all the other players, because that's no fun for anybody. They're going to kind of make the decision as a group, and then he will role play it as the captain. So chain of command will be very important in that. Command procedures, watches and duties, routine security, again, my security officer, and then we've got boarding and inspections. They, of course, will be the ones doing the boarding and the inspections. That's part of what I'm looking forward to about this game. I can build a lot of stories around that. They find that little free trader that's got a signal GK going, Mayday, Mayday. They go ahead and they approach it, and they find out that it's got an illicit cargo aboard, and game ensues. Higher ranking subordinates, and then personal weaponry aboard ship. And this is going to be a bit of a twitchy thing too, I think, for my players. They're definitely the murder hobo variety sometimes, but I think they'll restrain themselves in this. I have made it clear that murder hoboism is not something that the Imperial Navy will tolerate, and that they do answer to higher authorities, so whatever their actions are, they've got to be able to justify them. And that's actually one of the things I'm looking forward to about this game. I think it'll create a lot better role-playing experience for all of us, and I think I'm going to be able to dive in it a lot deeper than I could in just a standard game. Now, all that being said, I love Traveller. I love Traveller in all its forms, and I've played almost every version of Traveller, and I love just being a character who's mustered out, is aboard a ship, and you're doing X. That's a lot of fun. But the active duty campaign takes on a little bit more life, a little more direction than those campaigns, and I'm excited about doing this. I haven't done an active duty campaign, I think, since the 90s. I'm not positive on that. Craig could not remember. He would be the only one that was in the game with me, and the last one he remembered was from the 90s as well. So it's been 20, 25 years since I've done an active duty campaign, and I have a lot more resources at hand than I had back then, and believe me, I'm going to be taking advantage of them. I'm going to be doing kind of a video diary of what we're doing in the campaign. I may or may not publish their actual characters when they're first created, and I'll put those probably on the Patreon site as a free thing, or maybe I'll let my patrons see it a week or two ahead of time, and then everybody else gets to look at it for free afterward. I haven't decided how I'm going to do any of that stuff. I may tape a couple of little sections of our game and put those on. Again, these are all things that I'm still deciding, and of course I have to have the cooperation of my players. They have requested that I not record the session 0. They want to be able to relax and enjoy themselves, and that's fine. I'm completely on board with that. Anything to kick the campaign off in the right direction, I'm all for. But that's really all I've got to say today about my forthcoming campaign. I'm really excited about it. Shipboard operations, I'll be Vargir-earing the heck out of this section of the book. And let me know your thoughts. If this is something you've done and had good success with, or maybe it's something you want to try but haven't gotten around to it, let me know. I'm always interested in any kind of positive comments or ideas. I read everything I'm able to read. Let me know below. Also, please take a look at the Patreon, see if you can help me out there. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Tell your friends. Keep the channel growing. But that's all I've got today on page 121. I want to thank you for your time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.